And so now you have a message for someone else in a letter, and you're going to be delivering. And what is in that letter, and who are you taking it to?
In that letter, the boys had put together their deep wish for the reconciliation of civil hearts, and that's what it's called. In 2009, September, the boys, together with locals in Bamiyan, as well as guests, international guests from Kabul, from various embassies, had come together for a peace trek. And this was in the beautiful western tail end of the Hindu Kush Mountains. We went to a lake, a pristine blue lake. And at the base of that lake, the boys stood and read that message, reconciliation of civil hearts. They asked very politely for all violence to end. They asked for, they made it clear that they did not approve of the violence either of the Taliban, who killed many people in Bamiyan, or of the US NATO troops, and asked them to leave responsibly as soon as they can. And it was a wonderful time trekking. We subsequently took that same message and kept a vigil in a tent made from tarpaul at the Bamiyan Peace Park. We slept in that tent for 7 nights. It was already snowing. It was freezing cold, but the boys had this important message in their hand, which they wanted to get to President Obama. They were not naive about whether or not anybody would even notice them in the park, this bunch of kids staying in a park. Providence had it that the US Ambassador Ikenberry had come to Bamiyan on a totally separate issue. It was the presidential elections in 2009, and he was told and informed by the US representative in Bamiyan that the youth peace volunteers are in the peace park in a tent with a message of reconciliation. Would you visit them? And he came. And when he came, he had already read the message prior to coming. He told them that he appreciated it, that he saw their work as well as the work over the park as the seat of peace in Afghanistan. He persuaded them to pack up their vigil and go back to school, and he took it upon himself as a promise that he would deliver that peace message to President Obama. I remember the boys talking about it that evening in the tent and wondering, should we trust this fella? And Afghans have had people selling them out for so long. They are able to stomach another betrayal. Anyway, they said, well, if he doesn't do it, we at least want to keep that door open with him, and maybe, perhaps, someday that voice of peace will be heard.
Mr. Eikenberry is on record as speaking very, very differently in cables that were intended for private communication and in public statements. And so there is the possibility of him communicating something privately that he doesn't publicly. But you are now going to deliver the letter to some other possible messengers, is that right?